Man, our theme song gets stuck in my head every time I hear it.
Me too.
I hope it gets stuck in your head. We should release it as a ringtone.
We really should.
Welcome back to another episode of Just Gay Stuff. My name is Jess.
And I'm Lauren.
And you guys might have seen on our socials that we have been asking if you are an LGBTQ plus business or an ally that runs a business, we want to hear from you so that we can cross-promote you on our podcast.
And in saying that, this week's episode is proudly brought to you by the incredible LilGriffinArt. When I spoke to them, they said that they provide artworks such as 3D print, sticker artwork, and other amazing arts and crafts. And they're two women who are married.
And where can we find their stuff?
So you could actually find them on Facebook, but to meet them in person, they'll be at Gold Coast Supanova in April.
Fancy.
The Collectors Market in May.
Even fancier.
And the Made Local Market in June.
Excellent.
So that's really exciting.
And we're going to put some links in the show notes so that you guys can find their business as well. And if you run a business of your own and you want us to promote you, just hit us up. Send us an email at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.
We would love that. And as much as we don't have a massive platform to promote you, we're hoping that we can be a little bit of a voice.
We are so thankful for the over 100 listeners that we have at the moment. That is incredible. You guys are blowing us away because
that's
honestly...
That's wild. We thought maybe only 2 people would listen.
Yeah. And that was like my mum. Okay, while I have your attention, we know it's really short notice, but because we record our episodes ahead of time, this was the best episode to do this in. It is International Women's Day on Friday. One for the ladies, go the girls. There is an event being held at 50 Annerley Road, Wollongabba, and it is being run by an amazing, amazing human, and you'll want to get down there. There's going to be music, arts, crafts.
There's a ball pit.
There's heaps of cool stuff going on. You can take your kids from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. and the only thing you need to be able to do to get in is have a woman with you.
Yeah,
everyone is
the ladies.
Welcome. This is a fully inclusive event, everyone. So, you know, if you need something to do or you need somewhere to go to have some fun, go out on Friday night to 50 Annerley Road, Wollongabba at the VHS venue. And guess what? We're going to be there. We're going to be there. From 10 p.m, we are going to be broadcasting some podcast episodes. So if you guys want to jump on and tell a story to us that'll get into an episode at a later date, come on down and let's have a chit chat.
Yeah. Or if you just want to feature on the Just Gay Stuff socials, say hey.
If you have a business that you want to throw our way and we can put it on the pod, please come down and say hello and support women supporting women and all of us supporting inclusivity.
And speaking of inclusivity, we can't wait to feature this next guest.
Yes, we have a guest today again.
I know, so exciting. Introducing our first ever non-binary guest. Welcome to the pod. Hey, Onyx.
Hello, how are we?
Oh,
we're
so good.
Thank you. How are you?
Look, pretty excited to be on a podcast for the first time ever.
That was going to be my next question. Have you ever done anything like this before?
Never. So it's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for letting me be the first NB on. So
yeah,
let's go.
I love that term NB.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's instead of saying non-binary all the time, you know, it's good to say NB.
It's like that little abbreviation. I think that's really great because some of our listeners might not be aware of that fact.
Well, I didn't know that, so you've already taught me something.
Yeah.
There you go.
100%. The whole purpose of having everyone on to share a story is literally to enlighten everyone else around you and everyone else around us, and hopefully
the community. Really.
Yeah, bring a bigger, brighter community together, and hopefully we can educate along the way.
Oh, definitely. And look, I'm still learning a lot myself. So to be able to put my little 2 cents worth in and maybe help a few other NBs in the community come out, then
that's awesome.
Yeah. Especially when doing something like a podcast and hearing your voice back isn't always the most amazing sound. And I had Lauren in the studio singing songs the other night,
God.
and then I soloed her and made her listen to it. And she was like, oh, is that what I sound like?
It was terrible. She says this is an excuse, but I say, I was tired. And she said, can you just do this for me? And I was like, guess so.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. And I think one thing with when it comes to hearing your voice back as well, like I do have a little bit of dysphoria around my own voice.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So obviously I'll sort of give you guys a few terms that I use and that may be used in the non-binary gender diverse universe. But so I am what they call AFAB, or assigned female at birth.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yep. And being non-binary, to me, that is, I don't identify as female, but I don't identify as male either. I sort of float in the middle.
Yeah.
So everyone's definition of being non-binary will be different. So it's always great to ask each person how they like to identify, and obviously what pronouns they use. I use they, them, because that just feels better for me. I still misgender myself to this day. I'm still very much talking about myself in female terms, and I'm like, oh gosh, they, them, slapping myself on the head.
I think it's such a thing where we don't think about these things, and especially even just now you telling us, Jess and I wouldn't have ever thought about the voice dysphoria.
Yeah, that's never even crossed my mind, which is actually one of the things I have in the list to ask you is certain things about that. But let's start at the beginning. So let's start with, what's your coming out story? Because that has to be different.
Very unique.
Yeah, very unique to you, as opposed to just going, oh, I'm a girl who likes girls, or I'm a boy who likes boys. You may have come through your own coming out story, and then you've gone on this road to self-discovery. So tell us about that. Where did it begin for you?
So my coming out story is, I guess, still happening, really. I've only in the last 12 to 18 months started my non-binary journey. And then I've known for a little while that I am bisexual. I'm still sort of exploring the pansexual idea of things. So that's not necessarily being attracted to someone's gender, but more their personality and who they are as a human.
Yeah.
So throughout high school is sort of where I found that I didn't feel comfortable like my friends did. I was very much dating heterosexually and basically just going for guys all the time. And, my friends would always egg me on, oh yeah, go and date this guy, or, this guy seems really cool and whatnot. But I always sort of felt deep down that I had, it just didn't fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And putting the pieces back together, being an adult now and sort of looking back on those experiences, I go, oh, that's what that was.
Yeah.
But my best friend in high school, I had a massive crush on her, and I was just like, I just want to be around you all the time. You are amazing. You're just a fantastic person. Like it just felt really good. Like I felt like it was more than a friendship, but obviously at the time I was like, no, I'm straight. I'm dating my high school sweetheart. We were together for 3 years. I'm definitely straight. There's no question at all. And then I would see some of the other people in our friend circle and they coming out as bi, and I was like, oh, that's actually really interesting, and I like the idea of that. But I only recently in the last 12 to 18 months have I gone, actually I think I need to start exploring this. So yeah.
So in the last 12 to 18 months is where you've really started to explore your sexuality as well as your identity, or
both?
Wow. Yeah, crazy.
So I think they do go hand in hand, because being the way that I am, obviously I do sort of tend towards males a lot of the time, but at the moment I've actually just met another amazing human and we are officially partners now. So
congratulations.
Hooray. And they're also non-binary, but their definition of non-binary is very different to mine. So
I think everyone's definition of non-binary is unique, right?
Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah. So, and they're an amazing human. They are also AFAB. So this is my first, I guess, if you will, gay experience.
Yeah. Okay.
It's different, but I'm absolutely loving it.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
The road to self-discovery can be scary, but it can also be super fun.
Super exhilarating.
Super fun. It's important that we can take a step back and really go, oh, this is scary, but it's so important to who I am as a person to discover what I like, what I don't like, what makes me tick, what are my turn-ons, what are my turn-offs. And if you get the chance to explore that, especially Lauren and I have spoken to a few people that are older who have come to us and said, oh, I never got to experience that. I just, the typical thing was you get married and you have kids and that's you. And if you're unhappy, you don't get divorced, and that's how it is. And we are so lucky to live in a society that is progressing to not take those experiences away from younger people, and even people that have decided later on in life that they need to explore sexually and have different experiences for themselves.
Exactly. I vibe with that 100% because there's a lot of things that can happen in our early teens and growing up that can sort of prevent us from exploring. So, being able to do that so freely in adulthood is just fantastic.
Yeah. So good. So good. And so are you feeling 100% super good right now?
Oh, definitely.
I love that.
I'm feeling a lot more like myself. I feel like I'm the person that I'm meant to be now.
Excellent.
Yeah, and those puzzle pieces in place.
Yeah, I love that metaphor, putting those puzzle pieces in place, because if you guys have listened to episode 1, that's sort of what I spoke about a little bit, was me having those light bulb moments, and finally I felt at peace with myself.
That's exactly right. And yeah, I was listening to it this afternoon actually.
Yay!
Oh, yay! Yay! And yeah, just knowing that you're not alone in that experience either is great.
Yeah, and that's 100%.
That's what we're trying to provide.
Exactly. We don't want anyone in the community, outside of the community, anybody ever to feel like they don't have a voice in their ear to help them along a tough road.
Yeah.
Exactly. And look, we need that a lot of the time because, there are a lot of us that do go through it alone. So, it's nice to have a sense of community and, people around you that listen and understand. So,
were the people in your life very accepting of your identity?
Look, not to sort of be a Debbie Downer, but I've had a few friends and family that don't really sit well with the idea, and they have removed themselves or the communication has dwindled.
Yeah, and that sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Do you think that also comes down to the lack of education surrounding?
Big time. My dad and my stepmom are fantastic. They ask a lot of questions, but they don't do it in a way of malice. It's more wanting
not
to
offended.
Educate themselves.
It's not a derogatory way. It's just...
Correct.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, isn't there?
There is. It's a massive difference.
Exactly. And my stepmom's very curious and she goes, I want to educate myself. I want to make sure I know that I'm understanding how you're feeling. And just to hear that is just, it's so validating. And it's great to have at least one set of parents that do understand and are trying, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I think that's what's wonderful, is that there's groups of people out there that are wanting to understand and wanting to educate themselves. And I guess that's also where we come into it, to hopefully through interviewing you and also just sharing our stories and your story, hopefully we can educate those people. Maybe, there are parents out there who their children have come out as NBs, so you just don't know.
Look how well you just adapted that language. Look at you go, Lauren. Look, Onyx, you've already taught us something.
Fantastic.
What you're saying is completely 100% true. And I think, look how good that is for your stepmom, and how some of your family can then show the next generation of, this is like compassion to somebody who may not know who they are and they just need support going through life.
It's love. It's love and support, really.
And I think a lot of the miseducation or no education at all comes from the fact that not all of us know someone who identifies as non-binary. Not all of us know someone who is gay. And I think maybe you do, but you don't know that they're gay.
Yeah.
So when our podcast can give people that connection to, this is Onyx's experience, and I didn't realize that for them it was this hard, or what compassion I can show to, just have basic respect. I think we can really educate together.
I think the biggest thing is to make sure everybody knows that they're not going through it alone.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And that's one thing that has sort of been very hard for me, recently, is telling the people that I love and respect and say, hey, I don't identify as being my dead name.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't identify as that anymore. I identify as this new person called Onyx, and they are still the same person, but they're more themselves. They're more out there. They're more comfortable in their own skin. Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel like it really like, obviously it is a big deal because you're talking about people's lives, but I feel like it needs to be dumbed down for some people. Like for me, but I'm someone who widely understands, so it's a different thing. But for me, I'm kind of like, well, you prefer to be called Onyx. How is that different from a nickname that you've been given at work and you've come home to your family and go, oh, the dudes at work or the girls at work are now calling me this and I really like it. So can I like keep that?
Exactly right.
I kind of really don't see the disconnection there. It's strange to me.
It's very odd to sort of think that people can't adapt that either. Yeah, I can't explain it. I just can't explain it.
You mentioned the dysphoria with your voice before, but what are some other hardships you face that even others in the queer community may not even be aware of?
Yeah, so gosh, there are a lot of things about body image, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
So to sort of touch on a few of mine, so I've obviously got female features and I am perceived as a female a lot of the time, but I'm a big gamer. I love going online, gaming, that sort of things, but I'm always scared to go on the microphone because more than once I have been mistaken for a guy because of the lower register of my voice. And hearing my voice back on things, I always feel it's too high. And I do identify more with the masculine side of things. So to sort of hear someone go, oh, you sound like a dude, I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But then in other times I hear myself back and I'm like, oh, I sound really feminine. That sounds disgusting. So it's very much the competing thoughts in my head that adds up into the dysphoria. So that's mainly the voice. Obviously, trigger warning for anyone out there that is listening to this and feeling the same things. It's okay to feel the way that you do. But yes, body image is another one of my big things. So obviously my chest is a big form of dysphoria for me as well. I don't like having the chest that I do. Obviously I'm just using general language because it can get very deep and very triggering for some people.
See, that's good because I would not have even thought that either.
And this is what it's about. Again, it's wonderful education
exactly
for
the
people
purpose.
in the community and or not.
Yeah, I find that so body image is something myself and my partner go through quite a lot because we do have bigger chests, and to wear sports bras and wear binders, it is very difficult to breathe most days, and not wanting to wear, say, a stereotypical bra or a bra that you just buy from Kmart. Buying these things is a lot harder for us. So buying clothes that fit or hide certain body parts or like our hips or our legs in certain places. There's a lot that can filter into that. And I think growing up, sort of seeing, what a typical female should look like, that never fit what my self-image was. So, there's that. There's how other people perceive you. There's so many things that people tend not to think about.
I was just thinking that. I was like, it's so important and so different listening to your story about how we talk about in the gay community different stuff we've faced where straight people don't think about that. But now listening to you tell your story, there's stuff that I was like, we don't think about.
There's, I guess, like anyone going through what they're going through, imposter syndrome can be a massive one.
I've heard of this, but I'm not really educated on exactly what it is.
I think it has different meanings for different things.
Correct.
But tell us what it means, Onyx, for you in the non-binary world.
Yeah, of course. So in my experience, obviously, having that imposter syndrome is not feeling valid as being part of the LGBT community. You can say, oh, I'm not queer enough. I don't look non-binary enough, I'm not androgynous enough. You can get a lot of that thought processes happening, and it is unfortunately a very common experience. But fighting that, we turn around and we say, yes, we are valid, we are allowed to be who we are, and attending things like support groups and social outings and things like that, you sort of question yourself about whether you'll actually fit in. And I had a lot of that growing up. And I thought it was just because I was weird. No, I'm non-binary.
But I'm a gamer as well, as I know because you and I have played games together. But
Yes.
as a gamer, I always feel like I was weird just because I liked games and all the other girls in my grade were like, ew, you play video games? And I was just like, yeah, what's wrong with you? You don't? I always thought that's what, when you think you're a bit nerdy or you're a geek, or that in itself makes you feel on the outside of a social circle, and then throw this on top of it where you feel like you don't identify with being female or being male, or even for me then going through the don't be a lesbian and then identifying as gay. That's just that extra stress on top of the stress you already have growing up.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And in a way, I'm grateful that I'm learning about my identity now, because I think it would have been too much back then.
Yeah, absolutely. And what support would you have had back then? Like, what was the representation?
Oh, look, unfortunately, there really wasn't much at all. You had a few androgynous celebrities, pop their heads up every now and again, but it was not something that you would see on mainstream TV. I was brought up in a very sheltered household, shall we say.
Yep.
So I was very much brought up with, you're straight, don't do anything out of the norm. This isn't right, that sort of thing. So to not have that representation, it just didn't exist. So
yeah,
you can't identify with something if it doesn't exist.
that's exactly right.
It didn't exist. I can only think of one person, David Bowie, and the term NB or non-binary wasn't even a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow. It's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
The other thing that Lauren and I wanted to ask was, do you have any advice that you would give your younger self, or maybe other people going through the same thing that you did or experiencing the same feelings? What would you say to them?
Well, funny you mentioned that, because I'm actually doing so as part of sort of going through my identity shift and things like that. I'm going through therapy, and we do talk to my inner child.
Oh, wow.
It's a very therapeutic and cathartic way of speaking to yourself. And I do find myself telling younger Onyx, and hopefully the younger people out there in the community as well, who are feeling a little lost right now, that it is okay to feel the way you're feeling. It takes time, exploration to find who you are. There's no rush, and you don't need to compare yourself to others. Don't be afraid to grow and change, because your identity will too.
Yeah, that's so
wow.
good. I think comparison is the downfall for all of us, isn't it?
But
We always go, oh, we're not pretty enough. We don't have the skills as much as this person, or we're not talented enough, or we don't have the same opportunities as our friends that we see on Facebook. And, everyone blows up on social media, and probably that's another thing that is our biggest downfall these days. But then the good thing about it is it can bring people together, and hand in hand, you have that support that you may have needed growing up, and now you can give that to somebody else.
Correct. And that's exactly why I love talking about being non-binary, is because it's like, I wish I had someone like myself when I was younger
Yeah.
Yeah.
to say, hey, it's okay. I see you. You're pretty freaking cool, man.
That's so important and so awesome.
Because I guess a lot of those kids would feel super invisible, hey?
Oh, big time. I think a lot of the people that may resonate with this are those kids that sort of don't have many friends. I still don't have many friends, but I'm getting there. And honestly, they will get there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will be seen. They are seen. Their experiences are valid.
Yeah. Once you leave high school, friendships is quality over quantity anyway, I think.
Very much so. Oh,
Yeah,
I completely
exactly.
agree. 100%.
So I don't want to spring this on you, but I thought to end the episode, do you have a worst first date story?
Dun dun dun.
Ooh,
I know we're springing it on you because I didn't put it in the notes.
Oh, did you not
No,
warn them?
I didn't put it in the notes.
that's all right. I think I got a bit of a heads up from our mutual friend.
Oh, yeah, because you're Beck's housemate.
Beck's housemate.
That's correct.
See, we're going back to the L word chart.
We are.
We can draw lines between us, no more than 6 steps, and we all know each other.
That's exactly it. And I said that to Beck this afternoon. I said there's 6 degrees of separation between
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You say that
6
all the
degrees
time.
of
6
separation.
degrees.
Yep.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So worst date. Oh my God, there's been so many.
Oh, tell them all.
Yeah, we want to hear them all.
Oh,
Let them out.
oh, look, the majority of them are with straight men. So you can kind of get the caliber of guys. Look, I'm not shitting on straight men, but my experiences so far, not great.
Yeah. Not all men, but we know that some can be dickheads.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so. Oh gosh, my memory's not the best, so I obviously won't be able to recall all the details, but I do vividly remember this one guy driving me home after our date. Conversation wasn't great. It was sort of very forced, just the general
The general ick.
Ick. Get the ick.
Yes, the general ick.
Not the ick.
And I was sitting in the passenger seat and I could just see the car veering towards the left lane. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's just like, his road position was horrific. And I'm like, the whole drive home, even though it was only like 10 minutes, I was terrified I was going to die.
Jesus.
Terrible driver.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so
Well, we're glad
that
you're
was
still
probably
here.
scary. Oh, so am I. Thank you.
Otherwise, you never would have experienced all these good feelings about
Yeah.
who you are now and who you can be with.
And able to educate those younger.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, look, you get through all of those bad dates to find some really good ones. And honestly, they're the ones that stick in my head a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Well, that's like you're manifesting the positive instead of focusing on the negative, which is something that we can all really learn to do.
Yeah, obviously be realistic.
Yeah, obviously. You're not going to ride a unicorn to work
Why
tomorrow.
not?
Oh God, no, I wish I could though.
Yeah, same. Although I work in my house, so that wouldn't be a very far ride.
You don't have to go anywhere.
That's true. That's true. Oh, Onyx, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we've really appreciated having you on.
And
Thank
if
you
there's
for having me.
no worries, if there's anything more that you'd like to say at a later date, just hit us up and we can get you back on and we can have a little chit chat.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think I might go away, have a think of some topics that might be fun to discuss about being non-binary, and then
Absolutely.
let you guys know.
That would be awesome.
Well, thank you so much. And we hope our listeners have really enjoyed listening to Onyx today. And we hope that you've learnt some things, because I know that Lauren and I have learnt some things.
Certainly did. We learned heaps of things and it was great.
And so remember to keep listening to us, rate, review, comment, all the
Subscribe,
things.
all the things.
And as a very special outro to this episode, my band Scarlet Gunner have just released a brand new single, and I wanted to play it for you on the outro of this episode. So this song is called Ain't Love If It's Easy, and it's available on Spotify now. I hope you enjoy it, and remember to
Stay gay, motherfuckers.
I've never been good at pretending. I've never been bad when it comes to you. It ain't love if it's easy. We all got hard things to do. Now life ain't worth living, and not if I don't have you. It ain't love if it's easy. It ain't love if it's easy. I've never been good at pretending. I've never been bad when it comes to you. It ain't love if it's easy. We all got hard things to do. No life ain't worth living, but not if I don't have you. It ain't love if it's easy. It ain't love if it's easy. Oh yeah.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials, and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.